Hi everyone, my name is Jacqueline from She Rises Studios, and welcome to this powerful and inspiring panel discussion for Unleash Her. The next chapter begins. A book that is so much more than a book. This is a movement, a mission, and a mirror for every woman ready to rise, reclaim, and rewrite her story. Today, we will celebrate the extraordinary authors who pour their truth, strength, and vulnerability into these pages. Unleash Her is a call to every woman who's ever felt stuck, silenced, or sidelined to stand up, speak out, and step into the next chapter with boldness and purpose. So if you're ready to unleash your power, your purpose, your next level, let's go ahead and join the discussion today. Welcome, ladies. How are you all doing?
Doing good. Thanks,
Doing well,
Jacqueline.
thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, I'm very much excited about this particular collaboration because it's both um, you know touching, yet it's more than that. It's more than just your stories being vulnerable, but it's sharing the power behind all of the authors that have poured their hearts out into this particular book. So personally, what does Unleash Her mean to you? Would like to go.
I can start if you'd like.
Sure.
um, well, my chapter with the helmet of salvation and unleash her is, really to me personally, it's a calling for finding your identity in Christ and then using that to be able to discover your spiritual gifts and be able to bless others. And one of the things that I talked about in my chapter was the story about the architect. And
Mm,
this is a story that many can find, author unknown, but I love what it means because it's about this man that was an amazing architect and he was sought after to do all these projects. And one day he went to his boss and he said, I think I'm ready for a change. I don't think I want to do this anymore. And so his boss basically was real sad, but he was like, okay, I understand. He's like, will you do one more project for me? And he's like, okay, I can do that. So in this last project, this sought after amazing architect skips steps, cuts corners, gets cheap material, just tries to throw it together as quickly as he can, right? And he's like done in half the time. And he comes up to his boss and
mm,
he's like, I really thank you so much for all these years that you've, supported me and been my cheerleader, so to speak. And but I think I'm ready for a change. And he looks at him and he hands him keys and he says, this is a gift for you. And then, so now the architect just got the house that he put together haphazardly, and just like, so I think about this with our lives, we plan our lives, but for me personally, God guides my steps. But am I like that architect? Am I all over the place sometimes if I'm not focused on keeping my eyes on Jesus and, moving in that direction? So I love that story and I love how it relates to Unleash Her.
that's wonderful. That's a very, it's a wonderful story, and truthfully, it's something that is very much relatable on our day-to-day life. Like, how do you manage your daily life? That's been interested to you. Now, maybe I can ask Gina this. This book is described as a movement. How did it evolve beyond a book, and what movement do you hope that this inspired?
I agree, and I just want to say, Carmen, thanks for sharing that story. That was amazing. Like I've never heard that before. Weirdly, um, but so what I think this book is about, and what I would love for it to inspire other women is to break out of your comfort zone, basically. I am someone who, always played small, always did, what other people asked, didn't really find my voice. And I have learned to finally step into my voice. And what I learned is that those who I was like following, so to speak, they didn't like that. They liked the fact that I was like, yeah, whatever you want to do, type of thing, and never had my own opinion. Now that I have my own opinion and I'm standing up for myself, I'm finding that, the people who were like that, they don't like it now. On the other hand, there's a whole new subset of people that I'm finding who are like, yeah, you go, Gina, you do this, girl. And so I would love for women who read this book to know and understand that you have greater benefit in this world, and don't play small, no matter how old you are. I think Louise Hay, I said this last time, Louise Hay was 60 when she started her publishing company, which I think is amazing. So, so step into your power, be who you are.
That's
Love that.
wonderful. Yes, that's actually wonderful. Hi, Erica. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for doing this, Jacqueline, and having us here. I love both of what both of you said. I agree with each of the stories, and I love that what Carmen said, because that's so true. Is that we're to give our best foot forward, right? And sorry, I'll take my sunglasses off. I didn't even just now realize I got these big bug eyes on. But we put our best foot forward, right? And you do have to give yourself permission to go, am I living the life I'm supposed to live? Am I doing the things that God has called me to do? Am I haphazard doing things? And even today, I thought I usually am never on the run when I do these, because I think it's really important to have these discussions. It's important for other people to see that we really do care about you. We want you to know that when we write these books, we have you in mind, because we know what it's like ourselves to go through these things. And so, even hearing Carmen say that, thinking to myself, when I wrote my story, it was really about that, trying to figure out, like, am I really in the place that is balanced in my life, fulfilling in my life, not just doing a servitude. Servitude I've done all my life. I've been a counselor for over 30 years. I was always working in servant in church and had my own private practice and worked for the federal government and doing those kinds of things. But I often put myself aside. And so for me, it was a lot more about the journey of, like, okay, I'm in my 50s. So this is my second set of life. Like, if I only had 20 years left, am I doing what I would want to do? Am I going to be able to give in a way where I'm also receiving? And so I think it gave me a lot more thought on the clarity of, what do I want the rest of this time to look like here on earth? Not just in servitude, but what am I also doing with my life of spending time with family, of balancing my life? And I found myself in a huge crash by not balancing my life. And so I had to readjust a lot of things.
And that's true. Actually, that's true for a lot of people, not just women out there. And they start questioning, or they start thinking about it. Now, what would you say for the many women who feel stuck between who they are and who they want to be, and they just don't know what their next move would be? What's the first step to bridging this particular gap? Yeah, so like you
I'll
said,
piggyback on what I said, but on what I did. So I just got really clear, and in my chapter I talk about that, like getting really clear with, what if you could do anything in your life, what would you want to do? and then giving yourself permission to, tuning in and asking God, to give guidance. Is this what you want of my life? And if I could do this, can you make that possible? And letting God give me direction in those steps. And out of that became blessings beyond what I could think or imagine. But I really had to get clear, like, what do I want? If I could have anything in my life, what would that look like? Time wise to spend with family, time wise to travel, time wise to take care of my health, but also time wise to be a servant and doing the things that I love to do, which is helping people. So, I think you have to get clear. What do you want? And then tune in and ask God, am I on the right track? And you'll know by how it feels. If it doesn't feel right on track, if it feels off, God will help you guide in that direction. If it is on track, take one step forward towards that, and everything else just starts to fall in line.
That's true. That's wonderful. I love that. Hi, Tammy. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hello.
Yes, hi. So, maybe I can throw this question to you. Fear and doubt are the major topics in this book, and you all of the authors have been very vulnerable about their stories. Can you share a moment where you had to push through fear to reclaim your power?
So many moments. I think it hits us on all sides: health, family, relationships, professional roles. And I would echo what Erica said: one step forward. Sometimes when we're in the moment ourselves, it becomes difficult to see what is the path out, or what is the path forward. What does this look
Hmm.
like for me? And I think it's okay to recognize that we don't have to have all of the answers immediately. And if we can just, go within, honor the truth that we have inside, and say, you know what? This is the small action that I'm capable of taking today, right now, at this time, that this is going to guide and lead us forward.
That's wonderful. I love that. Thank you so much. Hi, Sonia. How are
Hi,
you?
good. How are you? Good to see you, everybody.
Thank you. So, do you have, we're just, going through the things that readers can take from you, this particular book that you all have poured your hearts into. What practical tools from the book have personally helped you, and how can your viewers and readers start using them today?
Oh, there's so many things out of this book. So many tools from all the different authors. I feel like we've all come together in a way that really helps to shine all the parts within ourselves. But really, the takeaway is just really not letting fear of who we used to be, or even what's coming ahead for us, not to let it stop us from believing in ourselves, having God with us, to know that we're never alone, and
Mm,
just to really be able to not be defined by any of our challenges, or things that are going to happen before or after in our life, but just to really know that we're never alone, and that we can all come together and stronger together, and to not ever give up.
that's wonderful. I love that. You mentioned that just push through it, and trust that everything will work out for you. How do, and anybody can pitch into this. How do you ladies personally stay aligned with your authentic purpose in a world that pulls us in different directions on a daily basis?
I can start if you like, Jacqueline.
Yes, please.
Somebody once shared this advice with me, and I thought it
Mhm.
was really very helpful. Be patient with results, but be impatient with action.
Mm,
And when I thought about that, um, it really made sense to me, because if you're constantly moving forward, all the little things that you're going to do, whatever it's going to be. You may not get that big result like overnight, but if you do things little by little over a period of time, you're going to see, those blessings. They're going to come. So I would just say, kind of like, don't stop swinging the bat, just keep on swinging. And I mentioned that in both my solo book and also in, I think actually this chapter. I've written several chapters. I can't remember which one, but the idea of just not giving up. And that was a theme for Mendel Fitness when I used to train my clients. Never, ever, ever, ever give up. I mean, we had so many obstacles with the gym. I had personal obstacles that I faced, even, actually I talk about in this chapter. I won't do spoiler alert on it, but there was an incident that happened, that was serious, and we had storm damage that we had to overcome and all these things. And if I would have been like, oh, I'm giving up, I'm throwing in the towel, I'm done, I'm giving up, I wouldn't have seen all the blessings God had for us, that he blessed us with a spa. He blessed us with a sauna. He blessed us with a, 7-person jacuzzi out back for the clients with Mendel Fitness. I wouldn't have seen that if I would have given up. So my, I guess, advice is never give up.
Great. That's great. That's wonderful. I love that.
I'd like to piggyback on that and just say, keep moving forward, and even small steps can have a big impact. If you're someone who, wants to lose 10 pounds and that just seems overwhelming or something, start by, and you drink, 7, or that seems excessive, but I suppose there's people that do it. But, you're drinking, 4 sodas a day, cut back to 3. Just even that small little step moves you forward and gives you that momentum. And when you when you take these baby steps, you can look back, kind of like Carmen said too, you can look back and say, wow, look how far I've come. And I would also say to write it down, because we tend to, and I fall into this, looking back, and it's like, what did I accomplish over this past, year, the past month, the past week? So I have actually started writing this down weekly so that I can say, oh, well, I did actually quite a bit, yay me. So I would, I would say that. I would say take those small steps and then write it down so you can go back and say, oh, well, I actually did accomplish a lot.
It's wonderful. Yes. Just keep moving. Doesn't matter how big or how small. Just take those steps and celebrate little wins. That's what you say. So that there's improvement. I love that. Anybody else?
Yeah, I'll jump in. For me, personal alignment comes from a little bit of solitude, and often spending time in nature, listening to the wind, listening to the water. So just honoring what you need for yourself to recharge. And it looks different for everybody. It's not solitude for everyone. Some people need to get out there and be in the middle of the action. So whatever it is that, brings you that recharge, take a few minutes and make sure that you get that on a daily, regular basis.
And I would piggyback. I love like you said, centering in. So in my case, I was so sick that I was down more than I was up when I first started this journey, the new journey after my health crash. And so besides micro steps, I literally would take time to visualize and meditate and see myself entering into those places where I was trying to be, see myself healthy again, see myself in vitality, see myself being able to stay up longer hours, be able to exercise again. There was a time I couldn't even exercise. I was just that fatigued. And so, those little micro steps, sometimes it's just giving yourself permission to visualize seeing yourself doing those steps. And that in itself, in brain science, we know that what you visualize long enough, you will become. You are actually generating cell receptors that go throughout your body and create a healing formation. And so, knowing that God's word says they without a vision perish. So having that vision, seeing that, and experiencing that over and over, that can be a step for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I feel like with my thing, just having a lot of health issues as well. Like sometimes we feel so invisible. We just feel like nobody really sees us. We feel sorry for ourselves. We can get into this whole depression. A lot of things that a lot of people in the world are feeling now. Anxiety, depression, just different things going on with your families, things that aren't in our control, and just learning what we can control. And the biggest one that I learned through my whole journey was the gratitude. And that saved me, just really, just hearing a bird singing outside and just walking to the mailbox, if that's as far as I could go. And they would just, it's just like, we get so busy with the hustle bustle, and we don't really just slow down to really start to really appreciate what we do have, and I think that really just flips it all around for so many things.
I love that.
That's wonderful. And that's true. Taking things slow. We do take these steps for improvement. Well, we don't also forget to take it slow, take a breather, meditate, as Erica said. So those are wonderful tips. Now, if there is anything that your readers, the next generation of women leaders, can take away from this book, what message from your chapter would you like for them to take?
I'll jump in. From me, don't wait for external permissions. Give yourself the permissions that you need to step forward.
It's wonderful.
I can go next. If you're seeking God and you're placing Jesus in the center of your life, in the center of your marriage, in the center of your work, everything else is going to fall in place. So seek first the kingdom, and everything else will follow.
And I want to say, just living from freedom and not from fear, and just not being afraid to speak your truth, and really live, and really own and live in your own truth, is such a powerful place to be within yourself.
I agree with what the ladies have said so far. It's tough to add to it, but I would say, don't wait. Start today. Just start right now.
And I echo everything that they said. It all is right on track, except one thing I would add is you don't have to do this alone.
Yep.
Every one of the authors in here are either coaches, counselors. Like, you don't have to do this alone. Reach out. If you were trying to write a book, get involved with someone like She Rises Studio. Like, that's how we all met, and many of us have formed really great friendships out of it, and we've encouraged one another through our journey. Never, ever, ever feel like you're alone, and always know that God is there with you as well.
Yep.
That's wonderful. Well, thank you so much. This has been an incredible conversation, and thank you to making Unleash Her a true book that women can take, read, and be inspired. You ladies have shown such courage, clarity, and fire. Your stories are just personal. They're permission slips for women everywhere to stop waiting and start writing their own chapter now. So to everyone watching out there, the next chapter begins with you. The ebook is now available on Amazon, so go grab your copy, share it with a sister or a friend, leave a review to help amplify these voices, and make sure to stay connected with Unleash Her movement. We're just getting started. This isn't the end of the story. It's the beginning of the next chapter, and we're going to make it unforgettable. Thank you so much, ladies. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Jacqueline.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jacqueline.
Thank you all.
Have a great day.
You too.
You
Thank
too.
you.
Bye bye.